One day, while in Gokul Mahaban, this lady, she was just from a tribal background, obviously no education. She would collect fruits in the forest and she would try to sell them. So she came to Gokul and she called out, "Does anyone here in Gokul desire fruit? I am having fruit." Gopal, he had seen how his mother and other gopis, they would give some grains or some milk and trade it for other articles. So Krishna picked up a handful of grains. He was just a small little child. He came running with those grains, and the grains were falling out of his, from outside of his fingers, from in between his fingers. And ultimately, he just had a few grains in his hands. And he smiled at this lady. "Ami, please give me fruit." She was so charmed by Krishna. She just wanted to make Krishna happy. She filled his hands and his arms with as many fruits as he could carry. Krishna was so pleased with her. He smiled. That was enough for her. Getting Krishna's smile, pleasing Krishna. Her heart was exploding with the ecstatic feeling of love. And then Krishna ran off with the fruits. And her basket was filled with jewels and gold and silver, most precious jewels. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, she got so much happiness giving Krishna fruits, unconditionally for nothing, because the couple grains that were in his hands were worth nothing. She wanted to go back in the forest to collect more fruits to bring to Krishna. So she picked up the basket. She didn't even notice there was jewels in them. She was too enthusiastic to serve. She went, she collected more fruits. She went to put them in the basket. She saw it was filled with rubies and diamonds and emeralds. She wanted to get these fruits to Krishna as soon as possible, so she just took there was no room for the fruits in the basket. She just dumped it out as it was worthless trash and put the fruits in the basket in the place, and then left that behind forever and ran to Krishna. "Krishna, I brought more fruits to you." Krishna came running out to receive them. He was so happy. She attained the Purushartha Siromani, the crown jewel of the highest goal of life. She attained love for Krishna. Prema dhan. She was given the wealth of love. She was happy ever after. She attained the perfection of life just by giving some fruits to Krishna. And Krishna liked those fruits so much, he brought them back home. And Yashoda Mai said, "Where did you get all these fruits?" He said, "This tribal lady, someone, she came, I bought them." Yashoda Mai was very worried, as any mother would be. You should not be mixing with strangers. Not everyone is like your family. Krishna said, "What does it mean to be a stranger? I don't understand that word." He's in the heart of all living beings. No one is a stranger to Krishna. And then Krishna wanted to share the fruits. He said to Mother Yashoda, "Let us give these fruits out to all the Brajavasis, the Gopas, the Gopis." Yashoda Mai said, "All right, we will do." She went out and she called the Gopis and would give fruits, and Krishna would give to Yashoda, and she would give to the Gopis and Gopas, and Krishna would give more. She was giving out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fruits. There was no end to the fruits. She was in great wonder. How is it Krishna keeps giving me fruits? He only brought back two armfuls. But Krishna, those fruits represent the love of that lady devotee. And his greatest pleasure was to share them with all of his devotees. And he made her simple little gesture of love, he made it unlimited. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he proclaimed himself to be a fruit vendor. He said, I have so many fruits. How many can I distribute with these two hands? Whoever is my devotee, I request you to help me to distribute these fruits. And what is the fruit? The fruit of prema bhakti, the fruit of love for Krishna. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. The pancha tattva. They broke open the storehouse of love of God and they tasted it. And as they tasted it, they were chanting and dancing in great ananda. And then they were distributing the contents, distributing those fruits of love of God. And they did not consider who was fit or who was unfit. Which place was appropriate and which place was inappropriate. Whoever was willing to receive it, they were giving. That is the pastime of Krishna in his most magnificent, munificent incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By our acharyas and our beloved founder acharya, Srila Prabhupada's divine grace, we're all being given a chance to participate in these pastimes. By these wonderful temple activities, by our deity worship, by our prasad distribution, our book distribution, our Harinam, sankirtan, our Iskcon youth forum, and our congregation, every aspect of our community here in Pune is just tasting the fruits of love of Godhead and distributing to others. But mātrā-sparśās kaunteya, we may not feel it, we may not taste it immediately. There may be troubles in our life. But for Krishna's pleasure, we continue. Srila Prabhupada explained to us that to get love for Krishna is such a supreme form of liberation. To get some mystic powers, yogis have to do tapasya for many, many, many births. Related to heavenly planets, one has to do pious deeds for many, many, many births. To get liberation, one has to practice the principles of cultivation of knowledge and detachment for many, many births. But all of these things, the happiness that they give is not even a drop compared to the ocean of Krishna prema. The sankirtan is great benediction. And even if we're not experiencing it directly after 1 or 2 years or 10 or 20 years or 30 or 40 years, just if we're faithful to the process, even if it takes our whole life, even if it's given at the time of our death, or we may taste it tomorrow or today, or even if it, Mukunda Dutt, in Lord Chaitanya's Leela, he was eagerly grateful if it took 10 million births. That was Mukunda Dutt's realization. To see Krishna, to see Lord Chaitanya, to love Lord Chaitanya is such a benediction. It's not a cheap thing. If I could get it after 10 million births, I will totally surrender my lives to those 10 million births gratefully. because it's such a great thing. And it's given so simply and so cheaply comparatively to its value. Someone gives you a house that's worth 1,000 crores for 100 rupees. It's cheap. But if you only have 2 rupees, and it takes your whole life to somehow or other get that 100 rupees, we shouldn't think, why is it so expensive? Such a good fortune. So these are the fruits of love of Krishna.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on devotionalnectar.com.